Next, Mexican President Ernesto Zedillo. Yesterday, he made a speech to the people of Mexico from his residence of Los Pinos. He spoke about the economic situation in that country and measures taken by his administration to alleviate it. He also talked about corruption and the state of democracy in Mexico. His remarks last about 15 minutes.
Mexicans, thank you very much for greeting me at home. Last Thursday, the government of the Republic reported about the new measures that we must take in order to come to grips with the very serious economic situation affecting our country. Very rightly, our country feels that many of those steps will call for a tremendous effort on the part of all of us. Indeed, these are very harsh and painful measures, but of a transitory nature. This is why it is my duty as a president of Mexico to explain to you why it is that we're taking this heading. The economic crisis that we are now living is more serious than what we thought at the beginning of the year. It is indeed a crisis which was unleashed with great force last December, and it is the result of imbalances which accumulated throughout several years. This does not discourage us. I'm certain that we Mexicans will overcome adversity and we be able to overcome all challenges. In spite, firm actions have been taken to overcome the crisis, and in spite of the fact that a tremendous effort has been made by everybody, the situation continued to deteriorate. In the first days of last week, the value of our currency was depreciated with regard to the dollar, and interest rates skyrocketed. The deterioration and the problems affecting the financial markets constitutes a serious threat to employment in the country. Unless we curb down and redress this situation, we would risk undergoing a productive and economic collapse, which would paralyze the work sources and the provision of services. Such collapse would entail the losing of millions of jobs. It would entail canceling the perspectives of development for an entire generation of Mexicans. I am certain that no one in Mexico wishes for that to happen. It is my responsibility to grapple by means of firm decisions the problems. To resolve the problems of our economy, there are no simple ways or solutions. Other options which have been proposed to face the crisis with no sacrifice would very readily be conducive to unemployment and inflation that would be much more serious. Vis-a-vis these options, the program announced by the government is the one which, in spite of the efforts it demands, is the shortest way to overcome the crisis. As we shall no longer have the very voluminous foreign resources that we received in past years, we will only be able to set the economy in motion with our own resources. This is what will call for a great effort on our part. It is true that this is a very intense effort. It is also true that it will be transitory in nature. The program includes measures that will be very harsh and difficult for all of us. What is more painful about the adjustment program are the increases in the prices and rates of the public service and the value-added tax. Many of you may wonder, how is it possible that the government may increase its prices to then prevent there being more inflation? Unless the government increases the prices of the goods and services it supplies, little soon thereafter, it does not have enough money. It would have to print money, which unleashes inflation, or else it has to borrow money, which brings about an increase in the interest rates. The government will conduct additional cutbacks in its budget, but trying to protect the expenditures which go to education, health, and supply. and also to promote employment sources. We shall bolster the steps for savings and austerity throughout the government, and we shall sanction rigorously those who may use inadequately or will deflect public resources. It is not acceptable that the resources that the people entrusts the government be misused or badly utilized. Never, and much less today, may we tolerate acts of corruption. To do so, we shall strictly apply the law. The adjustment program also includes actions in order to resolve and to lessen in the long term some of the problems which the crisis has brought about to the homes and the small and medium-sized enterprises. For example, we shall be promoting an increase of the minimum and professional wages as of April 1st, as well as a cut down of the taxes to workers who earn between 2 and 4 times the minimum salary. We shall maintain fiscal benefits and shelters given to workers who earn up to 2 minimum salaries. We shall intensify the training programs for unemployed workers, as well as those for inactive workers. The Social Security shall extend from 2 to 6 months. The health and maternity insurance for unemployed workers. The government shall too maintain the budget for subsidies to basic products of popular consumption, such as tortilla, milk, and bread. We shall set in motion a special program for the creation of jobs in the poorest rural areas and in cities having greater unemployment. We shall establish a program to restructure in long term the credit which is owed by the companies. The amounts of credit which may be restructured through this program is more than the total mature portfolio. With the restructuring of the indebtedness, very many medium and small-sized enterprises may be saved, and many jobs too. Mechanisms shall be established to support those families who have obtained mortgage credits in the commercial banking sector. The coming months will be the most difficult ones. During the second semester of this year, the most difficult will have passed, and we shall start gradually witnessing an improvement. Some favorable results will even take place faster. Systematic compliance with the measures announced will curb down financial speculation and will help restore the confidence and reliance that our economy calls for. Comparison with the serious levels of recent days, rate of exchange of our currency shall recover part of its value in the coming weeks. When this happens, we shall start seeing a reduction of interest rates. If we carry out the adjustment program with disciplines and with perseverance, in a few months we shall have done away with the threat of a financial and productive collapse. We shall have an economic outlook that will be very different from one of today. That will be the one of economic recovery, which will result in the capacity for generating employment and to gradually recover the earnings that workers, peasants, and entrepreneurs have been losing throughout the crisis. The overcoming of the present economic crisis and the reinitiation of recovery will be intermediate steps toward sustained economic growth. We must be reliant that in coming years we shall attain that growth. In order to reach such growth, the economic heading must be clear as of now. That pathway includes monetary and fiscal discipline. It calls for stimulating, as never before, national savings so as not to unduly hinge from foreign resources. It calls for promoting productive sectors, the countryside and small enterprises, and the promotion of both national and international private investment, the promotion of exports to thus generate more jobs, making better use of our links with foreign markets. That heading also includes the strengthening of the social policy so that all Mexicans may have sufficient and quality education, better health, as well as the other basic services. That is indeed the pathway to generate the jobs and the resources that will enable us to overcome a backlog of injustice. Our country has a tremendous potential for development. However, full development calls for our making of Mexico a true country of law and for us to strengthen our democracy. Progress and social peace will only be possible within a true rule of law. Law compels everybody in the same manner, and no one, absolutely no one, can be beyond or above it. Our nation has been greatly hurt by the cases of impunity as a result of abuse of power, misuse of authority, and corruption. It is thus our obligation to implement and enforce the law with no exceptions. From the first year of this 6-year period, we have worked in order for law to be the true element of social coexistence. We have brought about a transcendental constitutional reform. We also have the firm basis for a judiciary branch of government that will be more efficient, stronger, and more capable of meeting and complying with its responsibilities. We're carrying out our commitment not to rest until justice has been made in the case of the brutal assassinations of outstanding personalities of the country's public life. No one and nothing shall weaken my determination to spearhead the construction of a true rule of law like Mexicans deserve. I shall do so by presiding over a government of law within the framework of a strengthened democracy. We are facing at the same time very serious economic, social, and political challenges. Together, we shall be able to overcome them. We all wish to have a new democracy and a clean political life. United, all of us must participate towards its creation. We all wish to resolve the problems which have been a cause of concern, and together we shall do so with the same unity that we need in order to forge ahead toward a sound political life and political justice. We shall be able to build a sound economy, an economy with a possibility to prosper. We must be certain that within unity and effort, we shall be able to overcome the crisis very soon. With unity and effort, we shall be in command of our future and a better tomorrow for all our children. Let us then together conduct that effort. Let us do it for Mexico.
Mexican officials recently released an emergency economic plan for their nation. The plan calls for boosting the general sales tax from 10% to 15%. It also increases electricity and gasoline prices by up to 35%. In addition, Mexico is planning to draw on $3 billion in financing from the World Bank, the Inter-American Development Bank, and other sources in an effort to help Mexican banks.